Right now at 6, authorities in Pittsburgh search for a suspect in a weekend shooting.
And after our night of severe thunderstorms and tornado warnings across the area, we've got a calmer start to the day. Take a look back at the damage left behind so far and how today is shaping up coming up.
Plus, Joplin fire officials provide tips about what to do after a severe storm strikes your neighborhood.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we had a number of severe thunderstorm warnings. We had tornado warnings last night. We had a radar confirmed tornado as well in Jasper County in between Joplin and Carthage. Now it was confirmed by radar. However, we've received some video from Shannon Becker this morning that is certainly interesting. It's one of the many things that National Weather Service survey teams will certainly be looking at. We also want to remind folks that the City of Joplin holding a press conference at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll likely have coverage on that, and it'll be discussing what damage reports have been received in the city so far, and what cleanup efforts are out there. Now, of course, Joplin, not the only community to receive damage last night. We have widespread damage reports across the area. A lot of straight line damage, wind reports, trees down, power lines down, power poles down. Across the area. Just a lot to assess, and we're going to have our team of reporters out there covering this today. We mentioned it all day yesterday. At least you were off, but we talked about it through the weekend and all morning yesterday about this severe threat. Unfortunately, it played out exactly as we thought it would.
Into the night as well,
Yeah, well into the night. Let's start first, if we can, with Shannon Becker's video. Take a look at this. This is on 249, so this is just northeast of Joplin. That's where that was. This is also an overturned truck in the Planet Fitness parking lot, so right next to Home Depot. Some minor damage out in front of Lowe's out there. Herman Lumber, one of their buildings, suffering some pretty intense damage. This is a billboard. This is what impresses me the most. That has been completely over. That was around 13th and Range Line. This is a tree down in one of the neighborhoods. It's another view of that billboard out there that was overturned, but this, you can see the wall cloud and you can see what may very well be the tornado. And there's a chance that that tornado is what caused some of this damage in Joplin. Now again, a lot has to be assessed, but it is a possibility. But one way or the other, that is very likely the radar confirmed tornado that tracked in between Joplin and Carthage and left behind all of these storm reports, all these damage reports across the area. So we've got they're orange circles, and we'll show them to you here in just a moment. But all these orange circles out there are going to show you where wind damage reports are. Now, again, National Weather Service teams will assess everything and make a final determination as to whether it was straight line winds or if it was a tornado indeed. But you can see all of these reports through Jasper County and into northwestern Newton County. We had some trees and power lines down in Neosho, a number of trees and power lines down across the city of Joplin and into Duquesne. Trees and power lines down, injuries in Chetopa from a tree down on a home, and then that devastating tornado that hit the Barnesville region and tracked into Bartlesville in northeastern Oklahoma. Unfortunately, several injuries, and one person in the Barnesville area was killed by that tornado. We also have a number of flood watches and warnings across the area because we've already received a lot of rain. We got a lot more last night. We have a risk for strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow, which we'll break down in detail in your full forecast. As for right now, we're a little calmer. We're a little cooler. Parts of southeast Kansas, mid-upper 50s, and we've got the low 60s across parts of southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. Quick look at that bus stop forecast, 65, south breeze gusting to 25. We're clearing out, still breezy, upper 70s out there, and I'm actually told we have, if we have a moment, this is a live shot from our photojournalist Trevor Lewis, who's out on South Range Line, and so you can see this sign here where Academy is at 1717 Marketplace. The bottom half of it has been removed. Power progressively getting restored. Still a number of folks without power out there as well. So again, we'll continue to take a look at this damage. We'll have our reporters out there today. We'll bring you all the latest on the KOAM news at noon, 5, 6, 9, and 10. And we'll have the latest on our severe threat in your full forecast, and that's coming up a little later. Elise?
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, after severe weather strikes and you've made sure you and your family are safe, You may feel the urge to inspect the damage to your property and your neighbors. However, it's important to take things slow to make sure it's safe. Joplin fire officials say high winds can knock down trees and blow in debris that can cover up hazards.
Well, the big thing is their own personal safety. There's power lines down, there's trees hanging, all sorts of hazards out in the road and things that could hurt anybody very quickly. And so we just encourage people to be cognizant of their own whereabouts in their own surrounding space to make sure that they don't get injured.
Officials say you should be aware of hazards in your home like exposed nails and broken glass. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Authorities in Pittsburgh are searching for a suspect they say was involved in an early Sunday morning shooting. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office was notified after a man, 34-year-old Keith Mitchell of Pittsburgh, went to Ascension Via Christi Hospital with a gunshot wound around 2 a.m. Sunday. Deputies determined the shooting happened on South 220th Street by the Meadowbrook Mall. Mitchell is expected to survive. Now authorities are looking for 34-year-old Stephen Taylor Jr. of Pittsburgh. They say he was last seen driving a blue-gray 2015 Jeep Compass with Kansas tags number 269SCR. If you have any information about his whereabouts, contact the Sheriff's Office. The city of Joplin has announced a housing assistance program intended to help improve opportunities for home ownership. Funding comes from a portion of the city's American Rescue Plan Act grant funds. The housing assistance program can be used to provide financial assistance for a down payment of closing costs up to $40,000 when applicants purchase an eligible home in the city of Joplin.
This program specifically, just to be able to get somebody into a home to buy with, it's hard for a lot of people to come up with a down payment for a home loan. And then you have the closing costs and all of the expenses that are tied to it. So it's just a great program to roll out the door, and it's exciting for the city of Joplin.
The city of Joplin says the program will remain open as funding is available or until the application deadline closes in 2026. You can learn more about how to apply on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now to look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A new report found that just over a decade from now, Social Security and Medicare won't be able to fully pay benefits. Plus, Hamas has agreed to a potential ceasefire deal, though Israel says the conditions are not what was previously discussed. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Tuesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping Nation Watch this morning, the worst city in the United States to drive in may not be your first guess, and it's not New York or Los Angeles. The worst U.S. city to drive in overall is Oakland, California. That's according to a recent study from Forbes Advisor. The study looked at 47 metro areas and considered a number of metrics, including driving experience, safety, cost of car ownership, and access to car maintenance. Oakland got the top spot for several reasons: a high number of fatal crashes, high gas prices, and long average commute times. Miami got the second worst city to drive in, followed by San Francisco, Houston, and Philadelphia. One new report found that just over a decade from now, Social Security and Medicare won't be able to fully pay benefits. According to the Entitlements Program Trustees' annual report, if Congress doesn't act fast to address the pending shortfalls, there will be fewer options. The report says the combined Social Security trust funds are expected to be exhausted in 2035. Following that, payroll tax revenue and other income sources will only be able to cover 83% of benefits owed. Meanwhile, Medicare funds are expected to be able to cover scheduled inpatient hospital benefits until 2036. Lawyers from former President Donald Trump are submitting a new reason to potentially request a delay in the classified documents case. They say some of the paperwork that was found in boxes in Mar-a-Lago has shifted out of order since they were seized by the FBI in August of 2022 rather. According to a filing Monday, Trump's legal teams says that this could potentially be a reason for the entire case to be thrown out. The Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith admitted in a court filing that some documents are not in the same order in boxes now from when they were collected in the Mar-a-Lago search. Prosecutors say the boxes have been reviewed several times, including once at Trump's request. Lingering uncertainty in the Middle East this morning as Hamas has agreed to a potential ceasefire deal. Though Israel says the conditions are not what was previously discussed. Israel's military has launched strikes in Rafah, and it says it has taken control of the Palestinian side of the crossing into Egypt. The White House warns that the operation puts even more innocent civilians at risk. CBS News' Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
Israeli strikes on the city of Rafah in southern Gaza continue despite word that Hamas has agreed to a ceasefire proposal. Palestinians cheered in the streets, but their celebration may be premature. Israel's war cabinet says what Hamas has agreed to, quote, is far from meeting Israel's core demands. Still, Israel says it's sending a delegation to Egypt to maximize the possibility of reaching an agreement.
Reaching an agreement is the absolute best outcome, not only for the hostages, but for the Palestinian people. And we're not going to stop working to that outcome.
The Biden administration says it's reviewing the details of Hamas's response, which came after President Biden's roughly 30-minute-long call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Officials say the president warned Netanyahu that the military operation in Rafah puts 1 million innocent people at greater risk. Israel dropped leaflets urging 100,000 people in parts of the city to evacuate ahead of the strikes. Israel's defense forces say Rafah is a Hamas stronghold.
End this war, save all the hostages.
Still, pressure continues to mount in Tel Aviv as protesters again called on Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire deal and get the missing hostages back to their loved ones. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And today, President Biden is expected to give remarks at a Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony in Washington, D.C. Now to look at some of today's top national stories, here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, after a rough night of thunderstorms across the area, things are much calmer. Our camera 7th and range line looking pretty good so far out there as we have a pretty decent Tuesday ahead of us. We're going to be relatively warm, bit breezy. Skies will be clearing. Temperatures into the upper 70s out there. A southwest breeze gusting upwards of 25. So we'll have an opportunity to assess damage, start some cleanup, and of course, National Weather Service teams will be here to assess some of that damage as well from last night's storms. We'll have another look at your forecast. Unfortunately, more severe weather on the horizon. Details on that when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Dr. Chris Wilcox.
A homeowner near Dallas, Texas has learned an important lesson. Don't be so friendly to farm animals. The neighbor had been feeding bananas to some young bulls through a fence in her yard, but then one bull decided it wanted to pay the homeowner a visit. Matt Howerton spoke with a neighbor about the experience.
I have gave him a banana once or twice.
Oh, there's another one too.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Bulls love bananas.
They remember that banana.
LaToya Keeling found that out the other night.
He'll come, he'll act like he eating the leaves, but he'll be looking into the house like, I know y'all home, come give me a banana, you know?
These 2 young bulls live in a pasture behind her Mansfield home.
That's the banana feeder.
And she's innocently been feeding them a banana here and there anytime she sees them. But Wednesday night,
I said, I know he didn't get up here.
She saw one of them where they weren't supposed to be.
He walked in the front window and peeked his eyeball in there. Like, yeah, I know y'all home. Like,
one of the bulls had pushed through the barbed wire fence and was trying to find LaToya. A harmless relationship suddenly went to the next level. So
he didn't know how to get back down, and I didn't know how to get him back down.
LaToya called a non-emergency line, and officers came to break up this love a bull story.
The one with the curly hair, he's the aggressive one. He was nudging him.
But the officers did their job, successfully leading the bull back to its pasture.
All right, buddy.
The fence going to be rebuilt, and LaToya?
Don't feed young bulls bananas. They're like cats. They'll come back.
Probably gonna dial back on feeding time.
No one was hurt when the bull got loosed, and again, Keeling says she has learned a valuable lesson. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got that severe threat tomorrow. We could see some strong to severe thunderstorms out there. We're going to have another look at your forecast and break down that threat when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Okay, Nate.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. First, wanted to pass along some information that we've received at the Carthage School District. No classes today due to the number of power outages across the city from last night's storm. So again, Carthage schools are not in session today, and that's due to the power outages across the city that are ongoing this morning. This is a live look from Joplin. This is part of the lumber yard for Herman Lumber here on Range Line, right around 14th and Range Line out there. We've had a number of damage reports along Range Line in a zone roughly from about 10th Street to 20th Street. And so again, National Weather Service teams are going to be out here. They're going to be assessing this damage because ultimately this storm did produce a radar confirmed tornado in between Joplin and Carthage. And there's a number of wind damage reports that stretch from Joplin up to the north side of Carthage out there. So again, National Weather Service teams will be making that assessment. We have video from Shannon Becker. I'm sure they'll be looking at this video because it does show what appears to be that tornado in between Joplin and Carthage, just to the northeast of Joplin near Highway 249. We also have a severe threat as we head into our Wednesday as well. We're not done with it yet. Now today, this again is just for the remaining showers that we had early this morning. This is going to go away, so don't worry about that. It's tomorrow where we have that low to elevated to enhanced risk for strong, potentially severe thunderstorms. Now right now, the biggest concern seems to be for large hail. Damaging winds are a possibility. An isolated tornado is also a possibility, but large hail seems to be the primary concern. Today looks fantastic. We are going to spend the day clearing out. We're going to have an opportunity to assess some of that damage out there and begin the cleanup process. And a quick reminder, the city of Joplin will be holding a press conference at 9 this morning. We'll have coverage on that. They'll be discussing some of the damage in the city and what some of the initial cleanup steps are going to be for residents who were impacted by this storm. And of course, again, I want to emphasize too, we know Joplin, not the only community with damage. There's damage northeast up into Carthage. There's damage back across Newton County, back into northeastern Oklahoma, into southeastern Kansas as well. A lot of wind damage reports out there. National Weather Service survey teams will be out assessing this damage and again making that determination as to what exactly was straight line winds and what may have been potentially a tornado across the areas. We had a number of tornado warnings last night. Again, today though, looks great. We're going to be nice. We're going to be warm. We're going to be clear. We're going to be breezy, though. Southwest winds pushing 25. Now, as we head into tomorrow, I said this future track is slowing down thunderstorm development. There's some uncertainty on that, but we are looking at the possibility as early as 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thunderstorms developing ahead of a cold front. Any of these storms that develop will have that possibility of becoming strong to severe. The future track, again, it's slowing that development down. There's some uncertainty as the exact timing of initiation, but any storms that develop ahead of this front will have that possibility to be strong to severe. As that front slides through the area, it doesn't have a major impact on our daytime temperatures tomorrow, but could trigger additional redevelopment, especially along and to the south of Interstate 44 through the evening. And then once it slides the rest of the way through, it will have an impact on our overnight temperatures out there as we'll be a little cooler. We could see some upper 40s for some of us. So again, today, upper 70s near 80, upper 70s again tomorrow. And then behind that front, we'll fall back into the upper 40s, low 50s. Much cooler heading into the weekend, but much calmer out there. A much needed break across the area. Sunny skies, temperatures in the low 70s. We'll start to warm up next week just in time for additional shower and thunderstorm chances next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That's a check of your forecast. I'm going to send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right. Thanks, Chris. About 7% of patients experience an adverse event in an outpatient setting, such as a primary care or emergency room visit. That's according to researchers at Mass General Brigham, who found the most common issues are negative drug events and healthcare-associated infections that are most likely to happen in a physician's office. The fear of being caught is what keeps many children from using drugs or alcohol. Researchers with UC San Diego asked 5,400 11 to 15-year-olds about their substance use. 3.6% of kids used drugs or alcohol in the last month, but it would have been 40% higher if not for the fear of a parent finding out. There was no evidence that a parent's monitoring ability increased the likelihood of being caught. And a child with a sedentary lifestyle is more likely to end up with excessive heart enlargement as a young adult. A study in the European Journal of Preventative Cardiology found that children who average 6 hours a day in sedentary time have a 40% increase in heart mass. Children who average 3 to 4 hours a day of light physical activity reduce the increase by 49%. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, local students got a lesson on Hispanic culture with a presentation that included music and dancing.
And we've got ourselves a much calmer start to the day after those thunderstorms overnight. We're going to take a look at some of the damage they left behind and how the rest of today is shaping up coming up.
Plus, a Tulsa neighborhood is on the hunt for a donkey owner after their donkeys escaped again.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:29. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. So we had a number of severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings across the area last night. I know a lot of folks, again, probably like me, probably didn't get any sleep, or like Doug and Lindsay did not get any sleep. Some of you may have got a couple hours. You're waking up now and looking outside and going, oh boy.
Long night, absolutely.
Yeah, long night for sure for many folks. Do want to remind folks a couple of things. One, Carthage schools are closed today, and that is due to the number of power outages that are ongoing across the community. That's a big issue still across the entire region as a whole. So do keep that in mind. Additionally, Joplin holding a press conference at 9 o'clock this morning. We'll have the latest on that today. They're going to kind of recap some of the damage and also touch on their initial cleanup process and how that's going to begin as well. So a lot of damage out there. Our photojournalist Trevor Lewis is actually live out there this morning with some of this damage. This is at 13th and Rex, so heading into Duquesne. And as you can see, take a look at that large tree branch that is directly into those power lines there. Again, this is why we have a number of power lines, power outages, because we have a number of power lines down out there. Just take a look at that. We've got a lot of power lines down, trees down. We do have some minor structural damage, both residential and commercial, within Joplin and Duquesne. And we did have that radar confirmed tornado in between Joplin and Carthage. We actually have some video. This is a video from Shannon Becker from 249. So this would be northeast of Joplin. You've got that clear wall cloud and what does appear to be that potential tornado out there as well. And this is it left behind. That was a truck in the parking lot of Home Depot and Planet Fitness. That was Lowe's. This is Herman Lumber. We showed you a live look from there earlier. And this is, again, one of the most impressive ones I've seen so far is that giant steel billboard. We have trees down across the area, and that billboard there at about 13th, 14th and range line. But again, there's just even that still. You can see that wall cloud, and you can see what appears to be that tornado potentially on the ground northeast of Joplin. So National Weather Service survey crews will be out today assessing the damage across the area and just making a final determination as to how many of these wind damage reports out there were either just straight line winds or potentially a tornado. And it's not just there. All of these orange circles are wind damage reports across the area. And again, the tornado reports, Barnesville, Oklahoma, near Skiatook, into Washington County, into northern Bartlesville. A significant tornado touchdown, doing significant damage in Barnesville and in North Bartlesville. There have been several injuries, and unfortunately at this point, one fatality reported in Barnesville from this storm. So a lot to assess, a lot to take in, and just all of these wind damage reports in Jasper County and into parts of Newton County. Lots of trees down, power lines down. If you're commuting this morning, be aware of that. You need to take caution, watch out for down lines and trees. Stay away from those down power lines. On top of that, if you're commuting, watch out for flash flooding. We have a number of flood warnings and advisories out there. A lot of rain on top of areas that have already received a lot of rain, so you've got to keep that in mind as well. And then on top of that, we have a severe threat heading into our Wednesday. We have a low to elevated to enhanced risk for strong to severe thunderstorms for our Wednesday. We're going to talk more about that with the full forecast here in a couple of minutes. To get you out the door, 65 for those kids going to school today. South breeze gusting upwards of 25. Partly cloudy skies will clear out by this afternoon. 77 when that bus brings them back home. Sunny and breezy, so we'll get a moment today to assess the damage and begin some cleanup work out there before those thunderstorms tomorrow, with our highs into the upper 70s near 80. We'll have another look at your forecast. We'll talk about that severe threat for Wednesday, and we'll do all that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, students in Carthage yesterday got a lesson on Hispanic culture with a presentation that included music and dancing. The students also made their own maracas out of rice and spoons, and the program was presented by the community's first Latina school board member, Maria Sanchez.
It is very important. Since Carthage, we have the dual language, and it's so important for us to teach it early so they can embrace with all the culture as well.
The presentation was in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, which was Sunday. The Tulsa neighborhood is on the hunt for a donkey owner. 2 donkeys keep escaping their pens and running around, and neighbors said they are probably thirsty and hungry. She says the animals are generally well taken care of, even though no one knows who owns them. The previous owner died last year, and now neighbors don't know who to call when this happens. The neighbor says the donkeys return to their pen at night, but she's worried about them running into traffic during the day.
I would love first to try to find the owners because, like I said, they have taken good care of them for the 2 years we've been here, and they're happy and healthy, but it seems like something's happened, so we would love to find out who they are so we can help.
The neighbor also says if necessary, they'd be willing to take the animals to a donkey rescue to get them off the streets. Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The FAA is investigating a report from Boeing that some of its workers failed to complete safety inspections. And we have a warm and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look at some of last night's storm damage in Joplin. In Consumer Watch this morning, artificial intelligence is quickly becoming a bigger part of travel planning and booking. It can be a valuable tool to help determine your next destination and what you want to do while you're there. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette explains from Newark, New Jersey.
The heck are we doing?
Travel influencer Michael Motametti from Los Angeles may have asked himself that a few times when he first made the decision to only use artificial intelligence to plan a year's worth of trips around the world.
I think that AI is really the future in a lot of respects.
To test it in the real world, he started using GuideGeek's travel assistant, messaging via WhatsApp, and eventually forged a partnership with the company.
Might have heard of the country Montenegro.
Letting the virtual know-it-all shape where he goes and what he does.
For me, I've been using it strictly as an experiment to see what would happen if I let go and I relinquished all control to AI to travel the world. And it's given me some of the best experiences I've ever had.
We decided to give it a try ourselves. We used Expedia's ChatGPT function to give us recommendations on our trip to New Orleans.
It was spring in the Big Easy, so we asked which events to attend. The French Quarter Festival showed up third on Expedia's list. It's an annual celebration of the city's music, culture, and food. We got a special rate to stay at the Four Seasons overlooking the festival, the newest luxury hotel to open in New Orleans, featuring 15,000 crystals in the champagne bar, a martini Esquire magazine named Best of the Year, and the largest pool downtown. Restaurant queries brought us back to Expedia, which recommended Commander's Palace for its Sunday jazz brunch. The quaint farm-to-table eatery Coquette, and Dookie Chase's restaurant for its soul food.
We have seen many attempts.
AI entrepreneur Gilad Bernstein tells those in the industry this is just the beginning of what's possible.
For those who prioritize travel, it's also going to be unwise to have a travel advisor who doesn't have incredible technology helping them do the best they can do.
He says AI won't replace people, but will improve their performance and your experience, no matter where you go. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
A 2023 report from the consulting firm McKinsey finds AI will bring hyper-personalization to travel booking. The FAA is investigating a report from Boeing that some of its workers failed to complete safety inspections on its 787 Dreamliners and falsified records saying the checks had been completed. A source that tells CBS News that this could potentially involve about 450 planes, including some still being built. The FAA has not determined that there's an immediate safety issue with the Dreamliners currently in service. A range of white-coated snacks is being recalled nationwide because they could be contaminated with salmonella. Palmer Candy Company says it was notified that one of its liquid coating suppliers may be the source of the contamination. Production has halted and the FDA is investigating. No illnesses have been reported so far, and the FDA says consumers should return the affected products to the place of purchase for a refund. And another sriracha shortage could be looming. The Los Angeles-based Hui Fong Foods says it's halting production of the popular spicy sauce until after Labor Day because currently red jalapeno chili peppers used in the product are not red enough. The company also says extreme weather conditions have impacted the quality and availability of the peppers. That's it for Consumer Watch. Now here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
And we're going to take one more quick look at just all the reports, the severe weather reports. All these orange circles are wind damage reports out there. Now, I know that we did have that radar-confirmed tornado in between Joplin and Carthage last night. So these are wind damage reports at this point. National Weather Service survey teams will be out today, undoubtedly very busy across the entire region, surveying the damage and assessing whether it was straight-line winds or whether it was a potential tornado. And that's going to be the case for any of these wind damage reports. We have to be absolutely certain, but we had a number of those across the area, a number of power lines down, tree limbs down. So if you're commuting, make sure that you are prepared for that. Stay away from any of those down power lines because they could still be energized. Quick reminders: Carthage, no school today due to the number of power outages in the community, and Joplin holding a press conference this morning to discuss the damage and what residents will need to know about the upcoming cleanup efforts that will be made. Also, if you're commuting this morning, a number of flood warnings and advisories across the area. A number of locations got more rain on top of rain we've already received. Now, we have needed this rain for so long. The drought has been so bad. Unfortunately, we are getting too much in too short of a time, and it's leading to those flood issues. A reminder, we have that severe threat as we head into our Wednesday. It goes low elevated to enhanced risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. We're going to break that down in detail here in just a moment. I'm going to get you out the door. Temperatures upper 50s into southeastern Kansas, low 60s, mid 60s even into Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Kids getting on that bus this morning for those that are still going today. 65, partly cloudy, breezy. South winds gusting to 25. Winds shifting out of the southwest this afternoon. Sunny skies though. Windy, warm, upper 70s near 80. Let's check your forecast. We're going to have more on your forecast, plus birthdays and anniversaries coming up right after this break. But first, here's a look at what's coming up on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, we will show you all of the pomp and circumstance from this year's Met Gala. And Oprah will be live in studio to reveal the latest selection from her book club. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Tuesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we're beginning with Jet Johnson in Bronson, Kansas, celebrating birthday number 7. Happy birthday.
And a happy birthday to Oliver Ram, who's turning 8 years old today. Happy birthday, Oliver.
And Wyatt Haney celebrating birthday number 9. A very happy birthday, Wyatt. It says, "We love you, strong boy," with love from Daddy, Mommy, Gracie, and Katie.
And a happy 10th birthday to Jocelyn Folk from Oswego. It says here from Dad, Mom, Faith, and Zachary.
And Riley Horton celebrating birthday number 15 in Carthage. Says, "Have a great day. We love you," from Grandma Judy and Grandpa Jim.
And a happy birthday to Jaden Finley, turning 18 years old today. It says that Jaden is a senior at St. Paul High School.
And in Nevada, Carolee Murphy also celebrating number 18 with a fantastic throwback picture. Either that or Carolee just doesn't age. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Carolee, a very happy birthday to you in Nevada.
Yes, and a happy birthday to Ashton Hensley, turning 20 years old today, from Pittsburgh.
And in Chanute, Haley Troxel celebrating birthday number 44 with the world's largest fork and spoon you have ever seen. Happy birthday.
And a happy 52nd birthday to Tammy Herbert from Pittsburgh.
And in Chanute, Larry Etheridge celebrating birthday number 71. Happy birthday, Larry.
Happy birthday to Carol Jane Fox from Webb City. It says, one of a kind, she has a contagious laugh and always a smile. Happy birthday, CJ. We love you from the Humphreys, Clevelands, and the Harps.
And in Columbus, Elaine Reynolds celebrating a birthday today. Very happy birthday, Elaine.
Continuing our birthday list, last but not least, Mike Rodwater from Joplin. Happy birthday, Mike.
All right, that was an outstanding list of birthdays and anniversaries. Love the messages and all the pictures, and we want to keep that up, don't we?
Yes, we do.
How do we do that?
You can do so by submitting your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com. Of course, be sure to include those photos and birthday messages if you so desire, and to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen.
Absolutely, and we of course love celebrating those birthdays and anniversaries, and that was the sound of me throwing my weather clicker on the ground. If I'm not here tracking storms, I'm at home tracking them for the family. So like many of you, I really haven't slept since yesterday. It's been a long night, and thankfully at least today we're going to get a pause before we see additional thunderstorm chances across the area. So as we head into our Wednesday, we have an elevated to enhanced risk for strong to severe thunderstorms along a cold front and ahead of this cold front that's going to be pushing into the area. As for today, skies are going to clear. We're going to have to contend with a southwest wind gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour. Outside of that, temperatures warm, upper 70s, pushing close to 80. Skies are clear. Give us an opportunity to assess that damage and begin some cleanup out there as well. And then we head into tomorrow morning. Now, initially, 5 a.m., we're looking all right, but by 8, again, the future track, there's some disagreement on the computer models as to the exact timing on when these storms will start. I do believe, with some of the latest data, that it could begin as early as 8. Now, the future track has pushed it off by an hour or so, but I think as early as 8 a.m. we could start to see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms out there, roughly in this zone. That's why this cloud cover is showing up. And some of those, once these initiate, will be an environment where they could become strong to severe. And that's going to be the case even at 10 a.m. They're going to have that possibility to become strong to severe. Now, large hail appears to be the primary concern with any of these storms tomorrow. However, damaging wind gusts and perhaps an isolated tornado, at least at this point, cannot be ruled out. So we've got to keep a close eye on those storms. Now, as that front moves in, it will not have a major impact on our temperatures. You saw Yates Center, a cool back down a little in the low 70s, but it's short-lived. And as that front rolls through, as we head into the afternoon and evening, additional thunderstorm initiation along that front will be possible by tomorrow evening. So late afternoon, early evening. And this will be mainly along and to the south of Interstate 44. And that could bring us yet another round of power, or goodness, I'm reading something, I'm skipping ahead here. Another round of strong to potentially severe thunderstorms by tomorrow evening. So it's something else that we have to keep a very close eye on out there. Temperatures this morning a little on the cool side. We've got upper 50s into southeastern Kansas, now into Nowata and Oklahoma. Ahead of all of this, where the breeze is still out of the south, we've got those low to mid 60s out there. And what I was reading ahead, we want to make a note that Baxter Springs schools are out today due to power outages in the community. So that makes Baxter Springs and Carthage at this point that are not having classes today, and that is due to the number of power outages in those communities. And as we've mentioned all morning, a number of down power lines, a number of power outages across the area. So if you're commuting, avoid those downed power lines. You've got to treat them as though they're still live. We get our morning started. Again, some clouds out there beginning to clear, 73. We're going to start to be breezy out there. By the late morning, early afternoon, winds will shift from the south to the southwest. Sunny skies, warm upper 70s near 80. Will be mostly clear through the evening, maybe a stray cloud or two, and clear overnight. A little bit on the cool side, but not too bad as we fall back into the upper 50s across the area. We're going to have a look at your extended forecast and talk about what happens after tomorrow's severe weather chances here in just a moment. And when we make the switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., your work could be taking its toll on you, your mental health rather. We're going to learn how you can handle your job stress so you can avoid burnout. But that's only if you join us at 7 a.m. on Fox 14.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you are out the door. Many are without power due to a radar-indicated tornado. Winds took down countless trees, which then took down power lines. Still more rain without power across the region. Overnight, the city of Joplin says potential tornado damage between 9th and 20th from Rangeline to Duquesne. Reminder, do not approach any down power lines. Public works crews will be working to clear streets. There are no reports of injuries. If you come across a down power line, do not go near it. Please call your local utility company to handle it. And for updates from the storms, visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Authorities in Pittsburgh are searching for a suspect involved in an early Sunday morning shooting. 34-year-old Keith Mitchell of Pittsburgh went to Ascension Via Christi Hospital with a gunshot wound. Mitchell is expected to survive, and now authorities are looking for 34-year-old Stephen Taylor Jr. of Pittsburgh. They say he was last seen driving a blue-gray 2015 Jeep Compass with Kansas tag number 269SCR. If you have any information about his whereabouts, contact the sheriff's office. And the city of Joplin has announced a housing assistance program intended to help improve opportunities for home ownership. The housing assistance program can be used to provide financial assistance for a down payment and closing cost of up to $40,000 when applicants purchase an eligible home in the city of Joplin. You can learn more about how to apply on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And after those storms last night, today much better, breezy. Southwest winds gusting up to 25, but otherwise sunny skies by this afternoon and temperatures upper 70s to near 80. Heading into the evening, a stray cloud or two, otherwise clear skies, a little cool, back into the mid to upper 50s for our lows. Again, watching that possibility of some strong, potentially severe thunderstorms again on our Wednesday, and those could start as early as maybe, say, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, upper 70s. That cold front, though, cools us down into the weekend, but leaves us calm into the low 70s, sunny skies. We start to warm up next week with additional shower and thunderstorm chances next Tuesday through Thursday.
All righty. Thanks, Chris. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making pork chops with bacon onion marmalade in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
You can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Jasmine Kyle of the SEK Humane Society joins us in the studio to talk about their Empty the Shelter event.
Plus, Charlene Patton in the studio with another amazing healthy recipe. And again, a quick reminder, Baxter Springs, Carthage,
yes,
no school today due to the number of power outages across those communities. We also have a press conference from Joplin at 9 a.m. We'll have the latest on that from you for storm damage and cleanup efforts that will be underway. We'll have a lot more on these storms and what they left behind for the KOAM News at noon, 5, 6, 9, and 10.
Absolutely.
And we will see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.